Well, we can speak to Sky special correspondent Alex Crawford, who's at the Balu Kali refugee camp in Bangladesh for us this morning. And Alex, your report yesterday getting a lot of reaction here in the UK, and the Prime Minister responding to it last night. What is the situation where you are at the moment?
Well, every day, pretty much.
Sky News Sunrise. In other news, Sky News has found that a record number of children are at risk of abuse or neglect in England. Serious child protection cases, known as Section 47s, have doubled in the last 7 years. Shockingly, there are 500 new cases opened every day. Jason Farrell has this report from Blackpool. Well, responding to Jason's report, the Minister for Children and Families, Robert Goodwill, said the government is driving forward improvements across every area of the child protection system. He's had this to say to the Chief Executive of the Family Rights Group for their reaction to these figures. That's coming up in around 5 minutes' time. I just want to bring you some breaking news regarding the retail giant Tesco. We understand here at Sky News that their £3.7 billion takeover of wholesale giant Booker has provisionally been cleared after the Competition and Markets Authority says it does not raise competition concerns. We'll keep across that story for you here on Sky News. But right now, let's speak to Jonathan, because key Brexit legislation returns to Parliament later on today. That follows the announcement of a significant concession to Tory rebels. Morning, Jonathan.
Morning, yes.
Thanks very much, Jonathan. We'll take a look at today's front pages now. The Eye is leading. Sky News has found that a record number of children are at risk of abuse or neglect in England. Serious child protection cases, known as Section 47s, have doubled in the last 7 years, and shockingly, there are 500 new cases opened every day. Well, Family Rights Group Chief Executive. This is very disturbing reading this morning. 500 new cases opened every single day. Why is this escalating?
There are...
Because we're hearing this morning about the serious child protection cases known as Section 47s. How effective are they effectively trying to combat this problem?
Well,
made, and
actually they're sort of saying that there's often lots of...
hitting all areas. The LGA saying children's services are fast becoming unsustainable. What kind of pressure does this place on an organisation like yourself and other charities?
So
of the Family Rights Group, thank you very much for coming in to talk to us about this morning. Thank you. Still to come, Jackie will be here with all the sport, including how Italy made World Cup history for the wrong reasons. Jackie has the sport, and I was trying to find my favourite headline of the day, which is on the back. I think Michelle Dewberry stole my copy of The Sun. On the back page, spaghetti oops.
Yeah, that's the way the pizza is sliced. Yeah, Italy not at the World Cup, you know, one of the big dogs of world football, and they are not going to be at the World Cup in Russia because it all went wrong for them last night. And you have to say, I personally think the World Cup should be all of the best teams playing each other, and it hardly ever is, because things like this happen. And they had a very bad draw. They had Spain in their group, and then they went on to get, you know, a very tough opponent in the playoffs in the form of Sweden. And so they're all crying at the end, as you can imagine, because, you know, it's a huge thing in their country, the World Cup. And Gianluigi Buffon apologised to the nation after they failed to qualify last night.
Good morning, it's 7:33. You're watching Sunrise here on Sky News. On the way, a look through. But we start with the Prime Minister's response to our exclusive report on the persecution of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar, with Theresa May calling it a humanitarian crisis which looks like ethnic cleansing. Well, yesterday, our special correspondent Alex Crawford reported on the plight of thousands of Rohingya trapped on a beach in Myanmar and effectively left there to die. It was the first independently filmed evidence of the atrocities against the Rohingya. Theresa May last night called on the Burmese authorities to take responsibility for the crisis. Just to warn you that this report coming up from our political editor Faisal Islam contains flash photography. In the last few minutes, the President, Donald Trump, has left Manila and is now heading back to Washington. His 12-day tour of Asia was his longest overseas trip as president to date, as he attempted to build a coalition to rein in North Korea. Well, how successful has that trip been? Let's go live to Manila and our Asia correspondent Katie Stallard. And what's the view of the President's trip there, Katie? Well, more on that throughout the morning here on Sky News Sunrise. But right now, taking us through today's papers, Michelle Geary and Mark. Michelle, you are starting with the Express front page, and this will be disturbing to any pensioners watching this morning who think that they have enough money to provide for care in their older age. Not the case, it seems, at the moment.
Yeah, it's going up to £33,000 a year to be fully looked after in care. And I just think that's absolutely astonishing, because when you actually look at the OAP income levels, they've just basically stagnated and have done for...
Expensive as the ageing population increases. Mark, Times front page, we're talking Brexit.
Yeah, and actually David Davis, the Brexit secretary, I would say has aged several decades in the last year because he's fighting...
Michelle, I'm really interested in this story that you've picked out from The Telegraph. If you dial 999, you can stream footage to police.
Yeah, I think this is brilliant. It's a trial in Wales, and it's exactly as you just described. So what they're trying to do is to use technology to help them with their investigations and help them help other people. So when you dial 999, you'll be able to do a live stream, so videos, pictures, etc. And I just think that's absolutely brilliant. I'm a massive advocate of technology. It's really good to see it kind of being deployed in the public sector in this way. And it should really help, whether it's trying to compile a case.
Mark, because they're talking about police here, but you do wonder if there is a need for it when it comes to calling the fire service, an ambulance. It could be a really a little bit worrying if you're eating your breakfast this morning and you're rushing it in order to get to work or on the school run on time or wherever you're going. This is in The Telegraph, Mark.
It is, really, and I think it's a big headache for all of us because we are, I think, time poor in our modern society. And well, there's now medical evidence from Japanese scientists who have demonstrated that you're 5 times more likely to develop heart disease, diabetes, and other issues such as a risk of a stroke if you eat quickly. So you need to make the time. I think, most...
Toast, which I will have to eat during the ad break, I will have precisely 2.5 minutes.
I think you should get it all blended into a smoothie and just drink it.
Oh, gosh, that is really time efficient and disgusting. Right, Michelle, young Brits are lazy, according to The Sun.
Yes, it's quite interesting. This is a
Do you know that man?
Yeah, this is... oh, bless him.
That was me about 3 hours ago.
I like the brown corduroy sofa. I like that bit. But anyway, this is a programme which is looking into the attitudes of young Brits. It's a recruitment company that's basically saying what's gone on with a lot of young kids. So they talk here about a few studies that's been done and when they've been in school saying, what do you want to be when you grow up? Lots of the kids these days are saying they want to be a YouTube star or they want to be a footballer.
Too late for you, Mark.
You want to be a footballer's wife?
Listen,
we'll sort it out.
Rebecca Vardy's out of town now, so...
I know quite a few who are working hard to do, vocations.
Good.
And, so they're not all like that.
That's good.
Although I do think it's maybe the myth of...
Right, we're going to take a break there. We'll have more stories from Inside the Papers after that. Michelle and Mark continuing our look through the papers. And Mark, front page of The Guardian. Facebook can tell a lot about your personality from just one like.
Yes, I mean, I know that when we go online now, we know that it's not a private ecosystem of our own, that the government can snoop and all the rest of it, but also these big businesses, not only are they aware of when you've been looking at an item on johnlewis.com or something and keep advertising it to you, even though you've just bought 3 of them.
That's so bizarre.
But now...
It's like, I haven't spoken to that person in a while, but they've posted a picture, so I'll like it. And it's almost like a wave, like, hi, I'm here.
I don't. You see, I've gone the other way. I've started to use Facebook less and less and less because I think, actually, if I want to...
I'm all over what you're doing.
Exactly.
I know exactly what you're up to. And Michelle, in the Daily Mail, President Trump making a bit of a meal out of a handshake.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say bless him, but a lot of people will find this hilarious. So he was in the Philippines and he was doing like an Auld Lang Syne type of shake, which is apparently...
We could do it, hang on. So,
actually,
to be fair, if you're bad at coordination...
Aren't we about 6 weeks early for this, aren't we?
Yeah, so...
haven't had wine.
He's got really sweaty hands, by the way. I'm like...
Yours are really cold.
This is very
I know, my hands are always really cold.
We should do this again on the 31st. It felt good.
Let's put a date in the diary.
Anyway, my point is, he didn't get the memo, so I don't know who briefs these people, but no one actually told him how to do it properly, so there's a very awkward moment where Donald Trump is all fumbling around and there's hands out.
He has a mental block on handshakes altogether. It's a nightmare for him.
There you go, a how-to guide on how to handshake. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
More papers for you in
that.
the next hour. We're going to take a check on the weather now with Naz. Coming up on Sunrise at 8 o'clock, the Prime Minister speaks out on the Rohingya crisis.